Hi, Dia. Welcome to Indian Express.
Hi, thank you.
Dia, first of all, you don many hats. You're a model, a filmmaker, an actress, an activist. You're also the UN Environment Goodwill Ambassador and the United Nations Secretary General Advocate for Sustainable Development Goals. I want to first begin by asking you, because we're talking on the World Environment Day 2022, what makes you remain so committed for social change and be a constant voice for environment conservation?
Well, because quite frankly, we don't have a choice. It's The climate crisis is here. It's happening. It impacts all of us. It impacts our present, our future. It's a question of our health and our survival. And I can't, I mean, I would be devoid of any empathy if I didn't want to get up and do something about it. And I think that it's that feeling of urgency and sometimes even despondency, honestly, because when I think about the future, and I think about a future that doesn't ensure that we limit temperature rise to 1.5 degrees centigrade, I can't even begin to fathom how hard life is going to be for everyone, and including our children. So it really is that sense of urgency and despondency that makes me do the work that I do. But also, I think more than anything else, Bhavna, it's recognizing that when you are working towards a solution, you feel less helpless, and that's really the honest truth. If I wasn't working in this space and I wasn't able to make the difference or make the changes that I need to, first at an individual level, and then of course hope more people will follow, I would feel very, very helpless.
You spoke about individuals. That's exactly what my next question was going to be. This year, the theme of World Environment Day is Only One Earth. Of course, it calls for collective, transformative action on a global scale to protect and restore our planet. But how do you think we need to work as a community as well as individuals?
So, I always refer to Jane Goodall when I answer this question, because more and more people are understanding how bad the situation is. We are confronted by a triple planetary crisis, one in the form, of course, of climate change, human induced climate change. The second is the problem of pollution. And the third is biodiversity loss. And for all of us who are aware of what this is doing to people all over the world and how it's impacting lives and livelihoods, it can be extremely debilitating and worrying and frustrating and cause and create a lot of anxiety. Which is why I refer to Jane Goodall when I say this, because she says the only way that you can continue to hold hope is in service and doing everything that you can do at an individual level and at a level where you impact your immediate community. And then, of course, that ripple effect can create the change that we need to see in the entire world. And therein lies the power of agency and individual action. And it comes from, of course, awareness. And it's so sad, right, Bhavna, that in 2022, we are having to remind world leaders and industrialists and all those people who are responsible for contributing to climate change and the crisis of pollution, that we have only one planet, that we don't have another one to move to. So I think while we remind these leaders that we need to keep things in check and half fossil fuel emission by 2030, we can also identify the actions that we can make at an individual level. which may start off with something just as simple as refusing all single-use plastics, which may be something as basic as managing waste at home, segregating and managing waste at home, or just identifying our own individual patterns of consumption and choosing items, products, ingredients, clothes, food, technology that is safer for the planet, that is healthier for the planet, and therein healthier for us as individuals.
But all of these things that you are mentioning are definitely are going to contribute because they're related to our personal choices. If you could highlight how you have transformed your life to make it into a sustainable life, what would some of those things be?
I haven't done everything, but I try, and there are many things that I've been able to do, which I can share. I always give this as an example of the 7 colors of the rainbow, because these are 7 actions that I think everyone can take. Like I said, refusing all single-use plastics. One thing that I just happened to calculate the other day, and I'm just illustrating it as an example because for those who think that one person's actions don't count, this is, I think, an interesting example. So about 5 years ago, I started refusing single-use plastic water bottles. And I started carrying my own traveling bottle. It's become a popular hashtag now. And just doing the math of 5 years, so I took a modest estimate of 4 bottles a day over 5 years. I've refused over 73,000 bottles of single-use plastic. So it adds up. It counts.
That definitely sounds like a big number when you look at it like that.
Yeah, and especially when you add it up with then the population of people who may be using plastic water bottles, given that 90% of them are not recycled. So refusing single-use plastics, bags, cutlery, bottles, any item that you know is useless, that you really can do without. Switching to a bamboo toothbrush, and like that, switching to more sustainable options in place of plastic at home and the workplace. The second thing that I think everyone can do is to manage their waste better. So segregating and composting waste can make a big difference. The third thing that I think we can all do is to take shorter baths. I always say that, sing a song, make your bath last one song, and you would have saved a lot of water. Fixing leaks, installing water check meters in your pumps, in your building water tanks can save a lot of water wastage. The fourth thing that I think all of us can do is switching from regular CFL bulbs to LEDs. Practicing of having mostly plant-based diets, where we choose to eat seasonal and locally available fruits and vegetables, and of course avoiding it if it's packaged. The sixth thing that we can all do is grow more trees. And the seventh thing I would like to say is to kind of draw your attention to all your patterns of consumption. So the clothes you wear, the food you eat, the technology you buy, everything, like travel economy more, less business class, that also makes an impact. It makes a difference. Of course, an ideal situation would be if none of the vehicles we used run on fossil, but while that's still a reality for most of us, we still need to find the choices that we can to reduce the carbon emission levels, right? So to keep account of your carbon emissions. And if I had to add one more thing to that list, of course, this is the 7 things that we can all do. But one more thing, it would be to empower, whether it is through your time, through your talent, or financially, organizations that work to protect and conserve nature and wildlife. These are organizations that really need our support. So it would go a very big distance if we could empower these organizations.
Right. I have to ask, India is a country where entertainment or cinema rather is a very impactful tool that urges people to think about the things that matter. According to you, what can be some of the environment related topics that filmmakers today can touch upon in their craft to make films?
Bhavna, there are so many human stories that are in the center of the climate crisis. Stories of triumph, stories of resilience, stories of adaptation and mitigation, stories of innovation. My God, I mean, it's there are so many stories that can be and must be told. I think to help people understand whether it is the problem of air pollution or for people to understand the problem of biodiversity loss and how that impacts our lives, or the politics um, and the criminality associated with wildlife trafficking. There are so many subjects and themes that we can draw inspiration from and tell stories about. And the good thing, Bhavna, is that many more people now are beginning to tell these stories. So I think in this decade we will see many more stories emerging in this space, because it's when we see, we tell, we hear, is when we know better, and hopefully we'll do better.
Thank you so much for your time. Any last word that you want people to know, or any message on this World Environment Day?
This World Environment Day theme is very powerful, and I hope that it's a theme that helps us all recognize that our actions count. We're all in this together, and this is our only hope. There is only one Earth.
Thank you so much, Dia. Thank you for joining us.